Welcome back to the Empowered Homeowner, where we are nailing homeownership with humor and heart. Today, I am so excited to be joined by Joanna Kornea. I am, of course, your host, Beth Allen, DIY expert, educator, and contractor. But we are talking about family-focused, female-powered renovation. We're going to chat a little bit about what do women bring to the renovation process. Who are some of the leading ladies at the LBK company in particular? And how can a design firm deliver consistent, reliable quality in today's age where, things are complicated and expensive, and how can you rely on that company to deliver for you? So let me introduce my delightful guest.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited you are here.
I'm very excited to be here.
Joanna is the co-owner and operations manager at LBK Design Build in Bucks County. They are a full-service remodeling company, and you've been in business for over 10 years.
Over 10 years, that's correct.
And they service Bucks and Montgomery County, and they are family-owned, and truly you put family in the family business in every way possible.
We do. We really try. When you think of your home, it's where your family gathers, and we really like to treat our clients as family, and they end up, a lot of them become friends and family throughout the years, and just with repeat business and everything like that. So, yeah, definitely.
And I love the motto of dream it, build it, love it. Where did that come from? How did that come together for you guys?
That's something I think my husband and I were kind of sitting and, we got together with our team, and we were trying to think of just core values and what we really want to represent. I think it was just a collaboration with our team, and that's kind of how it started.
And for me, that is just so important to have the benefit of people that get the family, that get bringing your people together. It's not just about cabinets and flooring. It's about the space. It's about what does that home do and mean to you. And I see that in everything that I see you guys post on Instagram and our conversations, that is at the core of so much of what you do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we do. We try. People spend a lot of money when they do these projects. So you don't want to sell someone something just because, it's trending, or that, this is what maybe we want to represent as a company. You really want to get to know the client and the family and what works best for them, especially when you're dealing with space planning and, and your home. You want to make sure it's functional.
Yeah, and that's what's so important is that it's the family space, so it's got form, it's got function and purpose. Now, you and I have chatted a lot in the past about the fact that when you and your husband were first married, you were in a family business, and you shared some of the challenges that you guys saw as the couple that was not in it 100%. So tell me a little bit about your husband's background and how you guys both ended up in this construction business together.
So his background was always in construction. I believe he started when he was 14.
Wow, that's awesome.
He was working on a lot of commercial projects in New York. And that's where we grew up. We're originally from Queens, New York.
Okay.
And my dad owned a construction company when I was younger. So, I was kind of familiar with that aspect of it, but I wasn't involved in it, because I was a girl.
You were a girl, exactly.
There wasn't too much, for him to kind of teach me, I guess, at the time. It's been an interesting journey.
But you went into education.
I did. Yeah, I have my degree in early childhood education. So it took me a little bit. I always think it's crazy to kind of send kids off to college after high school and be like, figure out what you want to do. And
for the next 40 years.
Yep, and go learn it.
Yep.
So I didn't know what I wanted to do at all. I mean, I think I, at one point, was majoring in archaeology, Then there was sociology, nursing.
You
It
kinda hit all
was
the
literally
buckets.
everything. I think I did accounting for a little bit, and I'm like, oh, this is awful. But yeah, I don't know. I think I did eventually go into education, and
But all that experience has helped you with your clients, in educating them as homeowners. And how are you going to use this space and educating your team? Because you're operations manager.
yeah, and I think it was nice that I was able to do a little bit of everything. And, I do have to attribute a lot of that to my husband and kind of having the trust in me to just give me that freedom and, let me kind of
Run
go
with
with
it.
my gut and do what do what I think is right for the company. And because I have no construction experience, or I had none when
I was
I
going to say,
started.
you do now.
No, now I do.
Yeah, you do now.
Now I do. But when I started, it was kind of like I was pretty good at managing. I know with my other employer, they put me in a role where I was able to be more of like a director or supervisor. So I learned a lot from my past employer with how to do that. And it really is about relationships. Like you can just knowing how how to treat people, how to deal with like different personality types.
Yeah.
So
And that's
it
part
kinda-
of your process when you're doing design projects is getting to know your clients and building that
yeah.
relationship. Like you said, you want that repeat business.
Yeah, definitely. We even do, and I don't think I mentioned it to you before, but we do any new hires that we have. We do a disc assessment.
Oh, that's
So
fascinating.
it's that like disc personality kind
Yeah.
of profile, so we have everybody take this disc assessment test, and we figure out what their kind of leadership style is, and then we're also able to use that when we deal with homeowners as well. So
Right.
you'll be able to tell if somebody is just needs a little bit more. If they're more like trust oriented, right?
Right.
You don't want to get into a relationship. Some people are very, very focused
Well,
on like, if I don't
exactly.
trust you, then this isn't going to work.
Exactly. And I think that whole disc assessment is really an interesting and unique thing to bring to a home renovation build project, because you need to know what is your team's strengths.
Yeah.
So that you can put them into those right relationships. Because, if you have somebody who is the introvert, they're not going to be that salesperson necessarily.
Exactly.
They're going to have a more back scene role. I think it's fascinating when we've talked about some of the roles at LBK that your daughter is considered part of the team. Tell me about how you ended up pulling her into it, because you said your dad didn't really teach you the construction piece, but your daughter seems to be a part of it all, and I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, she, she's a spunky little 10-year-old with a very strong personality, which there's times where, I'm like, man, why don't you just listen? And then in the back of my head, I'm like, no, this is going to be great for her as she gets older. She definitely knows what she likes, what she doesn't like. And
Does she weigh in on like the design?
oh, definitely.
That's funny.
Even as we're walking through like Home Depot or wherever, if we're watching a movie and she's like, Mom, that backsplash doesn't go
Oh
with
my
those
gosh,
cabinets.
that is so funny.
So she'll definitely, she's interested in design, but I always, kind of tell him like, you don't have to do this when you grow up.
Right, right.
I kind of want her to find her own way.
Yeah.
But she's very creative. She's very artistic. She loves art, music. So
That's awesome. Well, and it's about empowering young women to be open to anything. If they want to do construction, they can do construction. There is no limit, on that. So it was interesting when you talked about employees, and I know, Sophia's listed as, an employee, but back to that DISC assessment, what other things do you look for when you are hiring folks to work in a design build firm that if I'm a homeowner and I am looking to interview a company and hire, it shouldn't be 90-day fiance where, you just jump
Exactly.
in. Like, you want to take time. You're going to spend more than 90 days with your contractor.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So what tips can you give to homeowners on how they can use, that DISC mentality or personality assessment of who is this contractor and how do I work with them? What am I looking for?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think that has a lot to do with the actual homeowner's kind of personality. Are you someone who needs a lot of details, which that would be like a high C, right? Like the conscientious. They're very like detail oriented. Kind of has a million questions and they all need to be answered.
Okay.
So you have to find someone who's knowledgeable. Like, you don't want to hire someone who kind of beats around the bush and doesn't
who is vague.
Give you straight answers.
Okay.
And then there's also the high S's, right? So that's steadiness. Mm-hmm. So those are the people
calm.
the calm, you really have to like build a lot of trust.
Okay.
So you have to like whoever you work with. That's so important.
Yeah.
If that first meeting, you kind of get the impression if they're, rushing you or, you don't feel like
heard.
a priority. Yeah. And you don't feel heard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When I have spoken to people from my nursing perspective, I don't necessarily need my brain surgeon to have the best bedside manner.
Yeah.
I need him to have skills. Mm-hmm. But I want my family doctor, who's going to be with me for the longer haul, to be the warmer,
Exactly.
More connected person. So the same thing, you may not need a builder or the carpenter who is precise at what he does to be the warm and fuzzy. But if I'm the homeowner, I need that from my direct contact.
Yeah. From your project manager.
Yes.
For example, you want to be able to go to your project manager, because our lead carpenters typically don't, they're on site, they're physically working. So they don't necessarily have the time to sit with the homeowner and go through everything,
Exactly.
but that's what the project manager is for.
Right.
So the project manager is the one that kind of guides you through the whole process, answers all of your questions. And then the designer comes in once a week, and they're the ones that, if you're kind of unsure of things that you picked out, the designer's there to kind of solidify that and be like, remember, we really loved these. Like, you're going to love this when it's done.
Trust me.
Trust.
It's going to work out.
Yeah.
Like, they may not have that vision. But yeah, I don't think a lot of homeowners think about a design project from that perspective of what are the personalities of the players. Mm-hmm. And then that's, I think, is a really key thing. Talking about personalities and unique skill sets, we were talking on the phone last week about what unique traits do women in particular bring to a design build renovation, because your team is largely female.
It is, yes. Our office staff, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
But even you said, your budget and planning team and all of that. All of those roles may be traditionally thought of as men, estimators and even the folks ordering. But you guys just have such a strong female energy.
You're right. And that kind of happened by accident. I don't think that was something that we, planned for. I know typically, and I say typically because there's obviously men, but men are typically like high Ds, so it's the D is dominant, right? Mm-hmm. Women tend to be kind of higher Is, like an influence. So men, I think, are like D's, I's, and C's. So it's like the dominant, the influence, and then the conscientious. Women are more the I's, the S's, the C's. So I think just having that
the balance
works really well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's a benefit to homeowners, that your team has all of those personalities and the different, mental approaches to things.
Oh, yeah.
So that if one team member isn't necessarily jiving or connecting with that homeowner, there's another team member that can kind of take the lead, which is a benefit of having that larger team.
Yeah, and that's even how we kind of put designers with certain clients, where, we'll have the meeting in the beginning.
You feel the energy
You
between
feel the
them,
energy,
if it clicks
and
or
you're like,
not.
no, I think this designer is definitely going to
Yeah.
vibe well with this client, and
Yeah.
because that's such a huge part of
Oh.
of the experience and the
Yeah.
process.
Absolutely. And again, you think of medicine, and it's the same thing of, who is the doctor that's on the journey with you? Who's the
Yeah.
lead doctor? Who is the lead contractor? And do they meet that person's needs? One of the things that hadn't really asked you this question, but as someone who's working in design and construction, and you have a young daughter, you're working with a team of women, what do you think we as a society could or should be doing to help draw more women into the trades?
Oh, well, that's a great question. I feel like that, getting into a trade program wasn't really something that's presented as an option when you're in school. I think there's like home ec, right? And
Yeah.
that was kind of like I didn't do that. I think that was before my time. But
Yeah, home ec is
that's
not even around anymore.
No?
Well, not in the same sense.
Yeah.
The going to shop isn't necessarily a component. They still have sewing and kitchen
Yeah.
safety and things like that. But
Yeah, but you know what? Your question actually reminded me of at my previous, I used to work for Neshaminy Kids Club. It was like a before and after school program in the Neshaminy School District. And part of the after school program was, obviously the kids would come in at like 3:00 and stay until 6. And it was a wonderful program. We put in we had a lot of different activities for the kids to do. So I started a carpentry club.
oh, that's awesome.
And
That is so
so I feel
exciting.
like doing something like that, and it was really difficult for me to get girls initially to join. So I kind of had to,
you had to kind of
motivate
woo
them.
them in.
And yeah. But yeah, I had my husband would come in once a week and he would kind of teach the class, and we would get like cute little kits for them to build. So we'd do like
that
little
is
bird
awesome.
houses. But I think just having that, in school would be amazing for kids to be able to
Yeah,
do
I think
that. Yeah.
it gives them a chance to be empowered and think about home.
Yeah. And then they're not scared of, like picking up a hammer. And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I do want to pause to have a word from our nonprofit partner, Family Promise of Montgomery County. As much as I love talking about home and home ownership, we do need to pause and reflect on those that are still struggling to make home happen for them. On any given day, over 500 people in Montgomery County, PA, are experiencing homelessness. Nearly 60,000 people don't have enough nutritious food to eat, and 8,600 families have income below the federal poverty line. Family Promise Monco, PA, is doing something about that by partnering with the community to address homelessness and hunger, one family at a time. FP Monco is able to support families through an emergency shelter, transitional housing, and a food pantry. If you'd like to learn more on how to get involved, you can visit fpmonco.org. Well, back to talking about, the business of design. I am interested in what are some of the changes that you have seen over the last few years in terms of what are clients seeking to do with their homes? What are some of the things that are most popular?
Interesting. So I'd say we're having a lot of clients coming to us asking about additions, in-law suites. We all know what the interest rates are right now. So sometimes buying a larger, bigger home isn't really the best option. I'd say that's been a big one over the last 3-4 years. Just, clients wanting to add on to their existing homes and aging in place.
Okay. So with that trend of the in-law suites and aging in place, you're seeing people, they're trying to avoid, a senior living situation in a community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because ultimately it can be a lot more cost effective.
Oh, the expense of senior living is just astronomical. So if you think about it, and you add value to your home. You get your loved ones to stay closer to you, which is really nice.
You can create that multi-generational experience.
Yeah,
Like just even in your office, you have your daughter, you have you and your husband, and you have his father.
Yeah.
So you have that multi-generational experience just in your office, let alone in a home setting. But I think that's a trend that we're going to see more and more of as our population ages. And investing that money to create that space at home can be really a good move.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Yeah. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in design that how do you balance when people come in and they're like, I want this and this because I saw it on Pinterest, and you're thinking, oh gosh, that fad's going to come and go. How do you kind of steer them into something that's a better balance of their money and time for the longevity versus the whim that they want?
So we do. I mean, then we are very honest with our clients. They hire us for a reason. They don't want us to yes them to death, and we don't want to do that. So I think, some of the trends I would say is a lot of people wanted that like open floor plan, and they're realizing that's not the most functional thing. Sometimes you need your own space.
Yeah.
So definitely kind of getting away from more of the open floor plans.
What do you see are some of the problems in that open floor plan that people come back
with little
to?
kids?
Okay.
Just
Just the
running
noise?
just the noise.
Yeah.
Really the noise. Like there's just so much. Even my, we had an open floor plan, and my husband was kind of like in the living room when I was in the kitchen, just the banging, the pots and pans, like all the
Trying to
smells
watch
from the
TV
kitchen.
and you can't hear
It's just it's a lot. And then functional layouts as well. Like it's difficult to kind of place furniture in an open floor plan because you don't have too many
You don't have walls. You don't have walls. Like you don't have any walls to support or to back
Yeah.
up, and then everything is just free and floating. And,
Yeah.
And how do you navigate around that? And people then want the big, lofty, second-story family rooms and all of that. How do you deal with window treatments?
Yeah, it gets
Like you don't realize that it looks grand and pretty in photos until you get down to the budget of, well, now you need 100 yards of fabric for your window treatments.
Not only that, heat rises up, so then your heating costs go up. So just trying to make sure that we make clients aware of all the pros and cons of everything.
Right. Because the shiny bubble is like, ooh, but here's the practical of
Exactly.
you're going to want this the long term,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thankfully, the white and gray kitchens are phasing themselves out.
Oh, thank God.
So we're seeing a lot more color and warmth with wood, especially in the kitchens, quartz countertops, but like more of a natural quartz, not really the
Shiny,
white with like
sparkle.
gray veining
Yeah.
quartz.
Yeah. What has been the design trend that you hated the last 10 years that you kept seeing people want?
It might be like the tiny mosaic tiles in the backsplash.
Okay,
You
just
know,
those little, like the
really
penny-sized
tiny-
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just because of grout. Like
Oh,
I'm
the
not
grouting of that
grout.
is a nightmare. Yeah. More to clean. Yeah. I've been there, done that. So is there a particular project that you as a team have done at LBK that just left a lasting impression on you? That you walked away from, we just changed lives?
I think it was definitely, and we have them on our website. They did a wonderful testimonial for us, and it was Meg and her dad, and she wanted to move back into her childhood home. Her mom had just passed away, and her dad was kind of alone. He was by himself. So we did a entire first and second floor renovation of the home, brand new kitchen, master bathroom, master suite, and then we also did an addition off of the kitchen as well for Dave. So
That's
that
a
was
lot.
his spot. It was such a wonderful project to be a part of because, like you said, it was life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you didn't just give them space. They had the shared experience together. So you had a father and a daughter creating a space
Yeah.
that worked for them, which I can imagine had a lot of emotion.
Yeah, I loved that. And they just
Involved.
called us back again to add on a deck onto the home. So that was really nice to get that call and get to work with them again.
Wow, that's cool. And that's one of the things that I know you have shared with me that is really important for you is to not just deliver walls and floors, but to deliver a home experience
Yeah.
and to build the relationship that they want you back,
Exactly.
to have that impact on people.
Yeah, it's so important, and it makes, getting up and going to work just fun, and it means something.
Purposeful,
Yeah.
it's purposeful. I always ask my guests this question. If you could be a tool, what would you be and why?
Oh. If I could be a tool. I guess probably just a drill, because you always need one.
Okay.
Like no matter what you're doing, I feel like you always need a good drill.
It's powerful. You have one in your hand, Do you have your own drill or just Nick's drills?
No, I do have my own.
All right. I
do.
was hoping for that answer, that you have your own. And at what age does your daughter get her own power drill?
I think she's been really interested in using power tools, so I think it's coming up. That might be a good Christmas gift for this year.
Excellent. Yeah. Giving girls power tools. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can find LBK at lbkdesignbuild.com.
Yes.
And they are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the website.
Yeah.
Lots of fun to follow. Lots of great images and video clips. And, of course, you can find me always at DIYHipChicks.com. And just like you guys get at LBK, I always share this motto of, remember that doing it yourself never means you're doing it alone.
Oh, I love that.
And we can always build a team, whether it's our team at home or we're bringing in a team to help facilitate our home remodeling projects. So
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Beth.
thank you for being here.